Hey everyone, it's been a while. In fact, it's been exactly 1 year since I hopped on here to tell you about being diagnosed with POTS, or postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome. So this is going to be a health update video, and just as a heads up while you're watching this video, I would really appreciate it if you did not jump into the comments and try to play armchair doctor and diagnose me or talk about other conditions that I should look into or medications, anything like that. I take my health very seriously and I do a lot of research. So likely if you're saying something, it's something I've already looked into, I've been tested for, or I plan to discuss with my doctor. So just don't be that person in the comments. I've got my notes, so I'm going to break this video down with a quick synopsis of what POTS is, a brief overview of my health history and how I got to this point. Then I'll let you know what's happened since the diagnosis, what I'm currently doing to manage it, and of course, I'll tell you what will happen next. But first, I'm going to start with the burning question that I get asked at least a dozen times a week. How am I doing? I have had no changes, which then the next question people ask is, what does that mean? It means I am still very symptomatic. I feel terrible every day. My symptoms would be like fatigue and brain fog, vertigo, lightheadedness, etc., etc. Yeah, that's how I'm doing. But let's talk about POTS. So POTS is part of a cluster of conditions known as dysautonomia, which is a dysfunction of the autonomic nervous system. Basically, it's like my body is sending out the wrong signals for really easy things like your heart rate and your blood pressure and all that stuff. It's a chronic condition, and really only in the last year are we really figuring things out. Like a lot of people, for most of my life that I've been going to doctors, they just blame it on, oh, you just have anxiety, which isn't true. Or they tell you, just pretend you're not sick, and then you won't be sick anymore, which that hasn't done me any good. So POTS specifically affects my circulation. I've always had things like being lightheaded or dizzy. I have a really hard time standing, my body just gets tired and painful and all that stuff, and it's always seemed really weird, but my doctors just brushed it off as, I don't know, you have low blood pressure. So how it affects the circulation is, so when you're sitting, your blood pools down into your legs, and then when you stand up, the blood should return to your head, but in my case, it's low blood volume, and so the blood is very slowly coming up, so then your heart starts racing really hard to try to help that blood get up, and when you know how it feels when your heart races, it's not very comfortable, and so it creates, getting lightheaded, kind of like that head rush when you stand up, and just all kinds of really uncomfortable feelings. I'm sure you can kind of imagine. So like I said, this was diagnosed exactly a year ago. It was something I went to a specialist for, and almost right away she's like, yeah, you've got POTS. She's seen it enough times to recognize it in me. And then we did go ahead and I did a tilt table test, which is how it's diagnosed. And then just in a kind of random way later in the year, I did something called autonomic testing, and they did another tilt table test. Both times I failed the tilt table test, which means that I have POTS. When you fail, that's the good thing. Failing was helpful in this case. So under this umbrella of dysautonomia, I have POTS, and I also, 10 years ago, I developed a condition called gastroparesis. So that one affects my digestion. So like I said, dysautonomia, the autonomic nervous system, my body should know how to do heart rate and blood pressure. It should know how to digest, but it doesn't know. So gastroparesis for me, it affects me I have delayed digestion, it takes forever for a meal to digest, or it'll digest really quickly and I can't eat a lot. I'm nauseous, I have stomach aches, there's deferred pain, all kinds of weird little stomach things in my upper GI tract. Just really crazy stuff. I am in a much better place than I was when I was originally diagnosed with gastroparesis, but as you can tell by listening to my symptoms, it is something that still literally affects me every single day. But at this point, we are considering it mild. So anyways, when I got diagnosed with POTS, I started to implement all of the POTS treatments, like increasing salt and water to help build up blood volume, so my blood is thicker and it should rise quicker, whatever. Compression stockings. We've tried a few medications. So far, nothing touches my symptoms. Me being me, I continued to dig and dig and dig, and I advocated for some blood tests earlier in the year, or actually it was the end of last year, and then got the results, passed to a specialist, yada yada. Turns out I had iron deficiency anemia. My numbers were in the single digits when they should be in the hundreds. My primary care doctor was not concerned. She's like, well, you're still standing, you're still alive. So I went to the specialist, kind of came up with a plan. I had started with taking iron tablets to raise my iron. And I did them for a few months and it was able to raise my numbers a few digits. But the problem with taking the iron tablets was it was just knocking me out. Like, it was like taking a sleeping pill in the morning. So I tried to do it in the afternoon. It was like taking a sleeping pill in the afternoon. So the specialists asked if I wanted to do iron infusions, so I opted to do that. So I did iron infusions for 6 weeks and nothing changed. Still no symptom reduction, the exact same feeling before and after. But when we did my labs to check my numbers had all improved. They all look optimal. So that's a win for my doctors. So then recently, like literally in the last month, we got a really huge piece of the puzzle. So my burning question is, where is my dysautonomia coming from? Because maybe if I knew what was causing the gastroparesis in the POTS, I might be able to approach treatment differently. So I looked over all of my symptom trackers. I've had them for at least 10 years, some of them for 10 years. So I track like my food, I track like symptoms in general, like, oh, I had a headache today, or try to track medication. I'm really bad at that. And anyways, just I track all these things, which is really annoying, but it's great for my doctors because I literally have data on myself. Like, here, I have been tired for 5 years. Why? And I just kind of put the pieces together and I was diagnosed with Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. It's not actually an exciting thing, but it's exciting for me because I finally know my body a little better. So just to put it broadly, Ehlers-Danlos syndrome is a genetic condition. It's known as a connective tissue disorder that causes loose or flexible joints. It's the reason that I can do this, which I did not know was weird. But now that I know, I can definitely like see signs of it going all the way back to my childhood. The big thing that helped me put together the piece of this puzzle was notes that I've gotten from like my chiropractor. I did physical therapy and I started doing regular massages, and they would always have different notes about the way that I was feeling pain, like what they felt in my muscles or my joints. It just clicked for me. Currently, EDS affects, like I have neck pain and back pain, and then I have subluxations in my shoulders, my elbows, and only my right wrist. I don't know why that is. So if you follow me elsewhere online, you might see that I'm wearing like a brace or I'm using a cane or something like that, and then you just know that something is out of place that day. So I went to a special pain clinic for this diagnosis, but I wasn't actually able to see the specialist. He's actually booked out for the next couple years because, like all of the conditions of dysautonomia, there just aren't enough doctors that know stuff in this area. So hopefully I will learn more when I go to him, because I know that you'll probably go through genetic testing. Right now, it kind of looks like I have the most common form of EDS, which would be the hypermobile version, which wouldn't show up in a genetic test. But you know, you gotta play the game. And then hopefully I will also get to the right kind of physical therapist, because when I originally went through physical therapy, I was always in pain and I didn't know why, and I didn't have the knowledge of my body or this condition at all to know that maybe the things we were doing were wrong or not helpful. So I'm looking forward to getting actual help for it. So coming up next is going to be all the stuff that I just mentioned. At this exact moment, I'm switching to a new medication, which I'm cautiously optimistic about. You know how it is with medications. It's very similar to one that I used to take for my gastroparesis that did really good at handling those symptoms that I had at that time. So it'll be interesting, and it's something that, instead of targeting like one little symptom, which is the pills that I've been taking, you know, like, oh, it'll help with this or that, this one is going to help my entire autonomic nervous system all at once. So that's why I feel like it might be good. I don't know. We will see. And then on a more personal level, I'm still really exploring the fatigue aspect of dysautonomia. I know that it is very common in dysautonomia, but I just want to double check, triple check everything. And again, don't try to leave a condition or something down below, because I have been doing deep dives into this. So whatever you're going to say, I probably already know or have been checked, or I'm going to discuss with my doctor. I guess my last bit of news would be that if you are a subscriber of this channel, you'll notice that I'm not active on it. That's on purpose. I don't have the capacity for YouTube, like long form videos. Like, I'm already not looking forward to editing this one. But I am mildly active on all my other social media platforms. I have a website, I have Instagram, Pinterest, Facebook, and I'm having a lot of fun on TikTok. So if you still want to see videos from me, follow me on TikTok. So I'm not going to end this video by asking for subscribers because that doesn't make any sense, but feel free to follow me elsewhere online. I don't actually post about health. My main focus is actually thrifted fashion, but I realize it would be stupid to use this giant platform like YouTube to not share my story. Like, if I can help somebody with their own invisible illness, then I'm gonna do it. Thank you all so much for watching, and don't forget to be excellent to each other.